My video for January the 15th, 2020 is video number 3336. The title is Intelligence and Wisdom Are Not the Same Thing. I'm still struggling as I try to make sense of a world that seems increasingly insane to me. Based on what I was told my IQ was as a young man, I thought I was pretty smart. Yet I now see that I was misled on so many things. Hopefully that does not include my lifelong mission to play a role in bringing heaven to earth. Of course, that cannot happen as long as the public, and especially those who claim to be leaders, fail to see the insanity of war, even ideological wars. That kind of battle has gone on and on throughout human history and seems to rage on still. We do not have 20/20 vision as a human race. We claim to be intelligent, but we simply lack wisdom to see a bigger picture. Let me close this blurb introducing this video with some quotations to consider. George Orwell said, quote, "Some ideas are so stupid, only intellectuals believe them," end quote. Jim Garrison, an actor and Louisiana district attorney, said, "I'm afraid, based on my own experience, that fascism will come to America in the name of national security," end quote. DaShanne Stokes, an author, sociologist, and progressive activist, said, quote, "Lies sound like facts to those who've been conditioned to misrecognize the truth," end quote. What is truth? Yeah, I had to look up who DaShanne Stokes was. Of course, Jim Garrison, the actor, was one of the stars in the movie JFK. And of course, I think everybody knows who George Orwell was. I mean, that's a famous name. Anyway, folks, I made the previous video for the 14th, and I feel like I've lost and been alienated in groups that I've belonged to that I almost don't have any more groups left. It's just me standing alone, it feels like. Now I know there's still some friends that stand with me, but it seems that number keeps decreasing, not increasing. I mean, I've lost a lot of the Christian community because I don't back Donald Trump and Israel. And it's because of Israel that I don't back Donald Trump, because Donald Trump seems to be getting his marching orders from Israel, not from common sense, not from, I mean, it's a war thing. Now, I don't think Trump wants war, but I do think that the Israelis want war. They've always wanted war. Now, they have supposedly, the Jewish people supposedly have some of the highest IQs on earth. Now, that's what I've read. I don't know if it's true, but does IQ mean that that gives them the ability to be the rulers over everybody else that's of lesser intelligence? Now, my IQ is not way up there. But it is in the genius thing. Or at least it was when I was younger. I don't know if they've changed the numbers or changed the status of when you're supposed to be considered an intellectual or not, or a genius or whatever. I'm not a genius. I haven't been able to figure out so many things. I mean, I've just missed it. How could I have missed the contradictions in the Bible? That's the example that I keep using, but I did. I read it over and over and over again for 20, 25 years. So many times I read again and again that God creates things that are absolute opposites. And I, the Lord, do all these things, it says in the Bible. I create peace and I make war. Well, that's part of the deception as I see it. That's part of the delusion. We've been deluded to think that we can become peaceful through a process of fighting and warring with one another. That is not wisdom to me, folks. When are we going to be able, as a human family, as a human race, when are we going to be able to stop the insanity of claiming one-upmanship on one another, as if one is because one has a higher IQ, that they are therefore superior and have the right or the privilege even to control everybody else and brainwash them. We've all been conditioned as Mr. I guess it's a man, Mr. Stokes, DaShanne. I didn't even look that up, whether it's male or female. I'm assuming it's a male. We misrecognize the truth. In other words, we can't see the nose on our faces because we've been so misled and directed in areas where we don't need to look, and fail to look at areas that we do need to look at. How can we get out of this money trap? Because war, again, is the profitable business. It's the most profitable business. The United States is now providing mercenary soldiers to protect Saudi Arabia. And of course, we continue to support Israel, that has been at war against the Palestinian people who have lived on the land for centuries, even millennia. We continue to support the segregation of the world in that region of the world. But the insanity goes everywhere, folks. It goes everywhere. The war game is a game not of intellectuals. Though they may be high IQ, they don't have the wisdom to make peace because that's not part of their agenda. That's not part of their vision. My vision is to bring peace to earth. My vision is for people to be able to finally sit down and listen to one another and stop saying I'm right and you're wrong, because as soon as you go into that thing, you automatically cease communication. You can't reach a solution if you keep promoting the problem. The problem is lack of communication. The problem is the inability to love one another. The problem is that we cannot even get on the same page, let alone find solutions to the seemingly insurmountable problems that we have faced all of our lives and throughout our history. I want so much to have the feeling that God loves me enough to listen to me, to hear what I'm saying, and to respond lovingly, because I want to love. I want to break down the barriers and build the bridges of communication that are so necessary if we are to ever have heaven on earth. We can't do it thinking the same way that we've always been taught to think, which is intelligence for some, but not wisdom to me. Not wisdom at all. I would like to find wisdom, and I'd still be thrilled if I could find love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land called Earth. Thank you, folks, for listening, and namaste.